personally, I do think it's a moment. For me, I've grown up in Spain and I went to school, and a lot of what Meghan was saying, I felt really identified with. I think the fact that she's standing out saying that she's mixed race, for me personally, it helps me a lot. I mean, I've been lost in many occasions at school. Exactly what she describes. I didn't know who I was. Why do I have to choose? Do I have to be white? Do I have to be black? Is it because I want to straighten my hair that I'm more white? Is it because, you know, I want to wear an afro that I'm more black? It's confusing. This, to me, it is a big deal. And I know there are lots of people telling me on Twitter, you know, it shouldn't be a big deal now, but it actually is. Like, for people who are mixed race, I think that this is a really big step forward, and this is, to me, I'm so excited. I'm over the moon. I can't be happier, to be honest.
Charlie, does it feel like a big deal for you? Is it important to not have to prioritise, be able to talk about mixed race without saying you're one thing or another?
Yeah, it is to a degree, but I think when it comes to representation of sort of mixed race and black people, we have to remember that mixed race people are the acceptable face of blackness already. And, you know, that is why we're sort of fetishised by the elite. And so I'm not that sort of excited at the prospect of sort of Meghan Markle sort of marrying Prince Harry, because I'm aware of the sort of nuances around it and the fact that I suppose, you know, there's still a long way to go when it comes to representation of black people, mixed race black people as well in general.
Does this confuse you as a Republican?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I found it quite funny because a lot of my black peers are like super excited by everything that's been going on today, whereas I'm there just like, I think we should abolish the monarchy and and yeah, like, let's bring an end to this all.
Georgina, let me bring you in. Do you think it could have that effect, that it brings more people of colour towards the monarchy than before?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely going to make the royal family more relevant, and I also think it's really important to have greater representation of mixed race people in the UK. Like Charlie was saying, there is a very limited representation of mixed race people. We're kind of held up as this beacon of a post-racial society, and Meghan's proximity to the royal palace kind of destroys the notion that to be regal or to be kind of accepted in society, you have to be white. And I think it's really interesting that we do have somebody as close to the palace as Meghan herself, and it's a really exciting time for mixed race people.
Let me just go back to Amal. It's a huge burden, isn't it, on a young woman's shoulders to suddenly think she sort of carries all these expectations with her in this new role. Amal?
To be honest with you, I think that she's going to be a great... I think she's going to be... Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yep.
Hi. I think she's going to be a great role model, and to be honest, I think that we don't have anyone that's mixed race in the royal family till now, and look, it's just something positive. I understand that there's a lot of work to be done, but any step is a good step and it's something forward, and the fact that she stood up and said, look, I don't have to choose who I am, I can be mixed race, for me it gives a lot of girls out there who are mixed race the opportunity to just be mixed race. You don't have to be white, you don't have to be black, you're just simply mixed race.
Can I just come in on that?
Please.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that, because I know growing up I sort of really resisted being called like black, and I really strongly identified with being sort of mixed race and not being one or the other. But what I realised as I got older was a lot of the reasons why I felt like I didn't want to be called black was because I had internalised anti-blackness. And it, you know, I think we have to be careful when we're discussing that as mixed race people, that the reasons why we don't want to be identified as black, even though that's how a lot of the world will see us, are not tied up with our own sort of racial prejudices.
Do you agree with that? Do you think there is a sense... I mean, Charlie started...
I personally... Sorry, I personally don't agree. I think that, you know, I've never wanted to be not called black or not called white. My mum's white, my father's black. I embrace both races. So why am I made to be, you know, why do I need to choose?
No,
It's
I mean,
just
you don't
confusing
have to. I think that's the beautiful...
You know, I don't...
Yeah, I don't think you have to. I think that's the beautiful thing about being mixed race. I think we should be able to self-identify.
But you started off, it was a very interesting phrase you said, the acceptable face of a woman of colour. So you think if she had self-identified as black or more, or she was black... Yeah,
I think if she was darker skinned, it would be very unlikely that she would be marrying Prince Harry. I think that's true.
OK, this is really uncomfortable territory, but if Harry, let's say, was next in line to the throne, do you think that there would have been more racism that had surfaced over this? Do you think that would have been harder?
I think there definitely would have been more racism, and the people that are kind of commenting on this issue and saying that we don't need to discuss race and it's just two people who have fallen in love. I think you only need to look at the Prince's statement last year, which condemned the racial undertones of the press coverage, and you only need to go through some of the horrific Twitter comments and kind of comments on the articles about the relationship and about the marriage being announced today to see that we don't live in a post-racial society and that we do need to have greater representation of mixed-race people, and the proximity to Buckingham Palace will help create a cultural change.
Let me give you a last word, Amal.
I agree. I totally agree with that. I think that, you know, it's opening up the conversation. I think that, yeah, fair enough. Maybe if you know, Harry was next in line, you know, maybe it would be more important, or maybe, you know, she would have suffered more abuse. But I don't think it wouldn't have happened. I think love does conquer all in the end, and we are in 2018, and they're proving it. You know, we have a very modern royal family, which is great.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you.